Yo, what's good people? Your eyes don't deceive you. I have myself a rank 3 7-star GALAN here. I'm allowed to show some gameplay. Kabam said they won't be releasing him until the next Titan Crystal, which is in June. However, I have a feeling he's going to be available somewhere in spring cleaning as well. Why else would I be allowed to show this gameplay? Now, that's a complete guess though. Don't take that to heart. I honestly know nothing. But yeah, we're going to be looking at some 7-star rank 3 GALAN gameplay, mostly unduped because he really does not need his sig ability. So if you get this guy from the Titan Crystal, one and done, he's great unduped. But his sig ability does make him crazy in some specific matchups. So I will be talking about that a little more in depth later on in the video. But for now, I need to give you all a bit of MCLC lore, a bit of backstory on GALAN and explain to you why he's so hype as a 7-star. So when GALAN first released, this was when Battlegrounds was in its early days, way before 7 stars, 6-star rank 4s were the meta. GALAN and Hulkling were pretty much the best Battlegrounds champions in the entire game. Must-haves. If you didn't have them, you banned them. If you saw them in your draft, you automatically drafted them. They were OP. And what I've always said is Hulkling is the faster nuke of the two, but GALAN is the more versatile champion. There's really not many defenders GALAN can't take, and I don't think his value in the versatility department has gone down, whilst Hulkling's value in the nuke department has gone down slightly. Not saying he's gotten worse, but there are so many other nukes in the game right now that can finish defenders in 30 seconds or less, but there's really not many champions with the versatility of GALAN. His damage source is literally direct damage. Unless you have some sort of a damage cap like FAM, nothing is immune to, nothing is stopping this type of damage. Now, am I saying GALAN is better than Hulkling, better than a 7-star Hulkling? No, I do think Hulkling would be the better Battlegrounds champion, especially because he's a much better defender. But what I'm trying to get across is GALAN's value as a versatile attacker has not gone down whatsoever, whilst the value of a lot of nuke champions has gone down. So that should really be a testament to how timeless GALAN's design is and how well designed he is. I'm pretty sure this guy was built to be one of the best Battlegrounds champions in the game, and they succeeded in that. He's far from the fastest nuke out there, but he's fast enough, and what I've always said about GALAN is he's the type of champion you can draft at the very start of a Battlegrounds match and you're guaranteed to get a use out of him. You can't really draft around GALAN. If your opponent somehow manages to get a full draft of defenders GALAN can't take, which is very, very, very unlikely by the way, you can put him on defense as well. Again, he's not the strongest defender by any means, but he can definitely put in some work. Most people can't dex his special attack, so that's some free block damage right there, and if they mess up, he's going to go into harvest and do a bunch of damage. Now, there's a lot of different rotations you can do with GALAN. The most reliable one is the one you saw in the first couple of matchups, where I do medium, light, medium as much as possible. Special 2, activate harvest, use my special 1. That will pretty much nuke most opponents. Against certain champions, you really don't need to do all that though, because GALAN gains extra planetary mass when your opponent gains armor ups, passive armor ups, or armor up buffs. Shuri gains a armor up every time you hit her when she's at 10 charges. So GALAN is just crazy against her 16-second fight. That's ridiculous. He's a pretty great counter to Onslaught as well. Those energy resistance buffs are actually some nice pieces of utility here, because that's going to reduce the neuroshock damage I take. You can see we finished pretty close to 100% health, and we didn't even do the free willpower healing trick where we block a hit of the special 1 to get a debuff on us and get free willpower healing. You don't need to do that with GALAN, thanks to his own regeneration and that energy resistance. Now, of course, we don't want to be using our special 2 against Onslaught. Will apply Incinerates, and what happens when you apply Incinerates to Onslaught? He applies a million Neuroshocks to you, and energy resistance ain't helping you there. So you have to go for a special 1 rotation, and this can be the fastest rotation, but you need good AI. What you do is you work up to your special 1, doing medium light medium combos, activate harvest by doing a heavy attack. Now as you're in harvest, you need to be as aggressive as you can, landing as many medium light medium combos as fast as you can to build up your mass. If you can get to around 650 to 700 planetary mass, that will nuke most opponents, but you need really aggressive AI for this rotation to be fast. The safest rotation is a special 2, activate harvest into a special 1, or even 2 special 1s, activate harvest into 1 last special 1. But if the AI is aggressive enough, you can nuke your opponents with only 2 special 2s. But I need to stress, you need very good AI for that. Most of the time, you're better off playing it safe and going for the other rotations. But now I'm going to be awakening GALAN and sigging him up to 660. This is the most ideal signature level for him, but he does not need to be duped whatsoever. The only important part of his signature ability is he's going to ramp up faster when a effect he is immune to gets applied to him. So power lock, power drain, any of that stuff, whenever that would get applied to GALAN, it can't be applied because he's immune, but whenever it would be applied, he's going to gain extra planetary mass. So when we hit Penny Parker's block, for example, we ramp up stupidly fast and we nuke her in 16 seconds. I mean, GALAN is definitely faster than Hulkling in some fights, because even Hulkling ain't doing that. Like I said, you do need your signature ability for this. It's not needed whatsoever though. If you pull GALAN, rank him up unduped. He's definitely worth it. You're just going to be a tiny bit slower against Penny Parkers and other champions that like to power drain you or power lock you. But honestly, there's not many defenders that GALAN can take advantage of with his signature ability nowadays. It's mainly just Penny Parker. 7-star Nimrod doesn't even exist. We'll take a little break from these fights here just so I can show you the damage of a max harvest from a rank 3 GALAN. So 99 harvest is 345k. I can't remember what the 6-star ascended was, but I know it wasn't close to 300k, so that's a very nice increase the 7-star is getting, and it's very quick to ramp up to 99 mass. So 345k damage is very baller there. We got Jessica Jones here. GALAN, he's just so versatile, man. As I was talking about earlier in the video, I wanted to make it apparent that GALAN, he's not going to be the fastest champion in the game. You're going to get outsped sometimes when you do use GALAN on attack, but he is going to be a must-have for Battlegrounds just because of how much of a safe draft he is. When you draft GALAN, you're guaranteed to get a use out of him, and that is what I love about him. I don't recommend giving this guy an awakening gem, considering the only benefit you're going to get out of it is he's going to nuke Penny Parker and Nimrod when he eventually comes out as a 7-star in Battlegrounds faster. But honestly, thinking about it, there's really not that many great options in a Cosmic class to awaken. So yeah, why not? Go ahead, give GALAN a Cosmic Awakening gem. I definitely wouldn't feed him a generic though, and I wouldn't bother sigging him up. 660 is the most ideal sig for him, but he's perfectly fine at sig 1. He's a really great counter to Photon because, as we all know, the biggest problem with Photon in Battlegrounds is the inequity mastery. This makes her so tanky because if you have 3 out of 3 inequity, you're reducing your opponent's attack rating for 2% for each debuff on them. Photon can reduce your attack rating by up to 36%, but GALAN's harvest damage cannot be modified, which means it isn't affected by inequity. So he's a perfect counter to Photon. He's one of the champions I used to use for her back in the day when Photon first came out. I was always using GALAN to counter her. None of his damage gets reduced. Well, his basic attack damage does get reduced by inequity, but his basic attacks really don't do any damage anyway. It's all about the harvest and the incinerates off the special 2 with Galan. Yes, the incinerates do actually hit pretty hard, probably harder than you think, as long as you activate harvest before throwing your special 2 like I'm doing here. Those incinerates go kinda crazy, especially in those power shield metas, man. Galan is so cracked for power shield. His harvest damage doesn't actually get increased, but those incinerates go stupid on power shield. He's one of the best champions for it, as long as the defender isn't incinerate immune. The next matchup is one I think a lot of people don't know Galan is good for, because I'm sure a lot of people have tried 6-star Galan versus 7-star rank 3 Sentinels and it hasn't gone great. But equal ranks, Galan is a great counter to Sentinel. You do want to try and manage his analysis, because for each analysis Sentinel has, he will reduce your harvest damage because he reduces direct burst damage off special attacks by up to 50% when he's at max analysis. And I know I said Galan's harvest damage can't be modified, but Sentinel isn't modifying the damage, he's just reducing it, so he still reduces the damage. So you want to try your best to manage the analysis. Don't let Sentinel gain too much. Go for your special 2, go into harvest, throw that special 2, get the nice incinerates. The harvest will not finish off Sentinel, but a second harvest will, and that's plenty of overkill right there. So yeah, a pretty great option for Sentinel now that he's a 7-star. Under 60 seconds is great for him. Now we have Iron Man Infinity War, who yes, has fallen off on defense recently. They've just released so many counters to this guy. Scream, Deathless Thanos, they buff Medusa. There's so many champions who nuke Infinity Man, and Galan is no different, but Galan is probably the safest out of all these champions. You can go stun immune when you go into harvest, as long as you're awakened. That's something I forgot to mention. You do gain stun immunity when in harvest when awakened, which is really nice, don't get me wrong. Again, not needed though. And you just go into harvest. If you're awakened, Infinity Man can't auto block you. If you're not awakened, you'll have to play this matchup a bit slower and not hit him whilst he has those armor ups. You can see we had like 600 mass there and it didn't quite finish him off, so that's why I'm saying you need around 650 to 700 mass to reliably finish off your opponent. And just to show how truly versatile Galan is, we have this man thing here. He's a pretty great counter to Mystic champions in general. You can play him in a way where your buffs don't expire with the special 2 method. You just go for your special 2, which will grant you a lot of buffs, but by the time you get to your next special 1, which will finish off your opponent, those buffs will not expire, so you can pretty reliably use him against Mystic champions. And he is in fact nullify immune, which honestly I'm not really a fan of. I'm really not a fan of a cosmic champion being nullify immune. I think it's a bit disrespectful and a bit ignorant of the class wheel. But he is nullify immune, there's nothing I can do to change that, and that is a crazy piece of utility that makes him a great counter to Mystic champions. He's a pretty great counter to Killmonger. Reverberation isn't going to do much damage if your basic attacks don't do much damage. Again, all of Galan's damage comes from his harvest, so yeah, decent option for Killmonger. Again, you want to go for the special 1 rotation in this fight though, otherwise you're going to send Killmonger to a special 3 if you use your special 2. But yeah man, we're approaching the end of the video. There's only one more fight after this, which is a Thing fight. As you can imagine, Galan, great Thing counter. That harvest damage bypasses all of the protection, and I'd say he was the most commonly used Thing counter. Back in the day, people really slept on Crossbones and didn't have him ranked up, so everyone used to use Galan as their go-to Thing counter. Before I go, I just need to say one last thank you to all of you for 10k subscribers. I'm so grateful for it. It is absolutely crazy to me, man. 10k was my goal when I started this channel. I never thought I'd make it this far though. I'm not trying to be too cringe, too cliche, but I genuinely mean everything I'm saying here. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're all excited for a 7-star Galan. I definitely am. My next Titan crystal is going to be crazy. We got Galan, Bastion, Spider-Woman. Yeah, I think it's time to start saving your Titan crystals, honestly. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you drop a like, all that stuff. Thank you all once again, and I'll see you all in the next video.